Have you ever wondered why some people seem to glide through life, achieving more than they ever imagined, while others, just as smart, just as talented, stay stuck in the same place year after year? Here's the truth. Nobody tells you it's not luck, it's not opportunity, it's the invisible power of your daily routine. Think of your life as a river. Every choice you make, every habit you repeat guides the flow. Left unchecked, the water meanders, loses force, and gets trapped in shallow streams. But with intention, consistency, and mindful effort, that river carves mountains, nourishes lands, and reaches places you never thought possible. Today, I'm going to show you how to take control of your routine, harness it with purpose, and shape your destiny. One small, powerful action at a time. Because the life you want is quietly being written by the way you live today. The first key point is that small actions are the architects of your future. Think about the way a river carves a canyon over centuries. Not with one sudden strike, but with countless tiny movements of water, day after day, year after year. Each drop seems insignificant, almost invisible, yet together they shape mountains, valleys, and landscapes. That is exactly how your daily choices work. Each decision, each habit, even the ones that feel small or meaningless, is quietly etching the story of your life. You may not see it today, you may even doubt it, but years from now, these small actions will either create a masterpiece or leave a trail of missed opportunities. Every morning you wake up, you face 100 little decisions. Some of them feel irrelevant. A cup of coffee here, a scroll through your phone there, but they are not irrelevant. They are the threads that weave the fabric of who you will become. You might think, I'll start tomorrow, I'll try harder next week. But tomorrow is just another day for small choices to slip away unnoticed. The weight of your future is built in the quiet, unnoticed corners of your present. Your destiny doesn't arrive in fireworks. It creeps in silently, through the repetition of tiny actions you choose today. The mind often underestimates the power of the seemingly ordinary. Brushing your teeth, making your bed, choosing to read instead of binge watching another episode. These acts are more than routine. They are statements to yourself about what you value. They teach your brain who you are before the world even has a chance to define you. Consistency in these small acts is like adding brick by brick to a house no one else can see yet. Each brick may feel modest, fragile even, but when laid with intention, they form walls strong enough to hold dreams, visions, and ambitions that once seemed impossible. Habits are the silent whispers of your potential. When you procrastinate, when you skip that walk, when you give in to distraction, you are whispering doubt to yourself, quietly convincing your mind that your dreams are not urgent. But when you choose action, even the smallest, you send a clear message: I am capable, I am disciplined, I am building something meaningful. Over time, these whispers grow into a voice you cannot ignore. They form the rhythm of your life, a cadence that pushes you forward even when motivation fades or fear creeps in. The rhythm matters more than the noise of a single day because it compounds into strength that becomes impossible to deny. Most people are waiting for a signal, a sign, a perfect moment to start. But the truth is, the perfect moment doesn't exist. Life is messy, opportunities are scattered like seeds in the wind, and only those who nurture them every single day see them bloom. Every small effort, every repeated action is sunlight and water for those seeds. The act of showing up, the act of doing what seems minor or trivial, is the cultivation of a garden that will eventually bear fruit no one thought possible. You are planting your future now, even if it feels invisible, even if it feels slow. Look at the people who seem to succeed effortlessly, and you'll notice a hidden truth. Their lives are the result of repeated, consistent effort in small areas that nobody applauds. They read when others scroll. They plan when others drift. They do what feels inconvenient when others choose comfort. There is no magic, no secret shortcut. The so-called luck they enjoy is actually the harvest of countless choices stacked patiently, deliberately. until the world finally notices the result. Every small action is like a seed. Every seed has the potential for growth, and every choice you ignore is a seed you will never get back. It is easy to dismiss these small actions because their impact is not immediate. We want results, we want proof, we want visible progress. But life rarely works that way. Transformation is quiet. It happens in the invisible accumulation of ordinary acts done with extraordinary care. The person who writes a single page every day may not feel accomplished, but in 1 year, they have written a book. The person who saves a small amount each week may not feel wealthy, but in a decade, they hold freedom in their hands. Every small action is an investment in yourself, and your future self is quietly keeping score. The beauty of small actions is that they are entirely within your control. You cannot control the world, you cannot control circumstances, and you cannot control other people. But you can control the next step, the next word, the next choice. That is where your power lives. That is where your destiny begins. It is built not in grand gestures or moments of sudden inspiration, but in the relentless, patient, careful accumulation of choices that most people overlook. If you embrace this, you start to understand a profound truth. You're not waiting for life to hand you a destiny. You're creating it moment by moment with every small act you choose to honor. The second key point is that your morning sets the tone for everything. Imagine a blank canvas at the start of each day. The first strokes you paint, your thoughts, your choices, the energy you bring determine the colors, the shapes, the story that unfolds. If you rush through the morning in chaos, scrolling, worrying, reacting, you are smudging the canvas before the masterpiece even begins. But if you take control of those first hours, if you consciously decide what enters your mind and how you move your body, you are laying the foundation for a day that feels intentional, powerful, and aligned with the life you want. The quiet moments before the world wakes are more revealing than any mirror. In those early hours, your mind is like water, clear and undisturbed, capable of absorbing whatever you place into it. If you allow distraction to fill it, the noise grows louder as the day goes on, steering your thoughts and choices without permission. But if you feed it with focus, gratitude, and pause, your mind becomes a compass instead of a passenger. The way you begin shapes how you respond to challenges, how you treat people, and how much of your potential you actually access before the day is even half over. Most people underestimate the power of the first hour. They believe the morning is just a routine to get through, a mechanical step between sleep and work. But the truth is, that hour is a declaration. It tells the world, and more importantly yourself, who you are and what you value. Waking up with intention, choosing to move your body, to read, to meditate, or to plan, even for a few minutes, sets a rhythm that carries through every conversation, every decision, every moment. It is like tuning an instrument before a concert. If you skip it, the music is off key. If you honor it, the symphony plays effortlessly. Your mornings are a mirror of your discipline. How you greet the day reveals whether you are a person who reacts to life or a person who shapes it. Each small act, making your bed, drinking water, journaling your thoughts, is a silent signal that you value yourself and your time. These actions are not about perfection, they are about preparation. They remind your mind and body that you are capable of starting well even when the rest of the world is still asleep, even when excuses whisper, and even when comfort tempts you to linger in inertia. The magic of the morning is not in grand gestures, but in the accumulation of small, deliberate choices repeated consistently. Waking up early is not an arbitrary rule. It is a window of opportunity. In that quiet, the mind can reflect, the body can energize, and the soul can reset. It is a chance to create clarity, to visualize what matters most, to prioritize before distraction arrives. The world does not grant this time twice. Those who understand its value carry a momentum that becomes almost unstoppable. While those who ignore it drift, constantly chasing energy that never lasts. Fear and doubt are loudest in the dark hours. When the world sleeps, your mind may whisper insecurities, regrets, or anxieties. This is precisely why the morning is so powerful. It is a chance to rewrite the narrative before external chaos has a say. By choosing to engage your mind with focus, your body with movement, and your spirit with reflection, you turn those whispers into a quiet determination. You transform what could be a passive drift into active creation. Each morning becomes a reset, a chance to reclaim control, and a signal that your life is not left to chance, but guided by intention. The morning also teaches patience and respect for process. It reminds you that life is composed of small, consecutive steps, and how you start matters more than how you react when the day feels uncontrollable, even if the hours ahead are unpredictable. If you've begun with clarity and purpose, you carry a reservoir of strength that can weather storms, make better decisions, and protect your energy. The morning is not just a beginning, it is a declaration that your life belongs to you, that your choices matter, and that the tone you set in these quiet hours ripples outward, shaping every interaction, every opportunity, and ultimately, the destiny you are building. The third key point is that consistency beats motivation every time. Motivation is a firework, bright, dazzling, and unpredictable. It can inspire you for a moment, but it burns out quickly, leaving darkness behind. Consistency, on the other hand, is a river flowing steadily, day after day, carving valleys, shaping stones, and creating landscapes that last far longer than a single spark. It doesn't wait for feeling or mood, it simply keeps moving, keeps building, keeps delivering results quietly, patiently, and relentlessly. Most people wait for the perfect wave of motivation to carry them forward, believing that feeling inspired is the first step. But inspiration is fragile. Some mornings it whispers, some mornings it doesn't show up at all. The person who achieves something remarkable doesn't rely on these fleeting bursts. They move whether they feel like it or not, because they understand that mastery, growth, and transformation are not born in moments of excitement. They are born in the small, deliberate actions repeated day after day, until the world bends to the rhythm of their commitment. Consistency is invisible in the beginning. You may do the same thing for weeks or months and feel like nothing is happening. That is the illusion. Every push, every page written, every step walked, every minute invested is quietly stacking energy, building momentum, and transforming your ability in ways your eyes cannot yet see. It is like planting seeds in soil you cannot yet see beneath the surface. You water them, nurture them, and then one day, without warning, the shoots appear, growing into strength and achievement you never thought possible, proof of the silent work you refuse to abandon. The human mind craves immediate results, which is why so many give up too soon. It wants visible progress, applause, recognition. But life does not work like that. Consistency rewards patience, discipline, and endurance. It trains you to trust the process, rather than the emotion of the moment. Each repeated effort strengthens not only skill or knowledge but also character. When you persist, even in boredom or frustration, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought, that your will is stronger than your fears, and that results are only a matter of time. Consistency is also a teacher of resilience. There will be days when the effort feels heavy, when the world seems to resist, when your mind is with doubt and excuses. These are precisely the days that define who you are. Every time you show up despite discomfort, despite uncertainty, despite distraction, you are building a muscle that no setback can break. You learn that success is not a lightning strike, it is a series of steps, each one taken with deliberate attention, repeated long enough that it becomes unstoppable. There is a quiet power in knowing that you can rely on yourself. Motivation is external, it comes and goes like the weather. Consistency is internal. It is a covenant with yourself, a promise that you will do the work even when the feeling isn't there, even when no one is watching. This is where transformation lives. It is not in the moments of exhilaration, but in the routine, in the repeated choices that say, I will move forward, I will honor my vision. I will not give up. That commitment compounds day after day into momentum that eventually overtakes luck, opportunity, and even talent. The beauty of consistency is that it makes extraordinary results inevitable. The person who writes one paragraph a day eventually completes a book. The one who walks a mile every morning eventually runs a marathon. The one who saves a few dollars each week eventually secures financial freedom. None of it happens overnight, none of it is glamorous in the moment, but the cumulative effect of showing up every day without exception is transformational. Motivation may start the spark, but consistency fuels the fire until it becomes a light that can no longer be ignored. The fourth key point is that you must protect your mind like a temple. Your mind is the silent architect of your life. Every thought, every image, every word you let linger becomes a blueprint for the actions you take. If your mental space is crowded with noise, distractions, and negativity, your decisions will follow the same chaotic pattern. But if you treat your mind as sacred, carefully choosing what you consume, what you dwell on, and who you allow into your inner world, you create clarity, focus, and strength that cannot be shaken by circumstance or opinion. Most people hand over their mental space without realizing it. Social media, gossip, constant notifications, and endless comparisons fill the mind with clutter. The result is not just stress, it is a subtle erosion of your ability to think clearly, to act decisively, to respond with intention rather than reaction. Your mind becomes like a polluted river, carrying debris that clouds your judgment and slows your progress. But the person who consciously filters what enters their thoughts creates a current that flows pure and strong, carrying them toward their goals instead of dragging them into confusion. The mind mirrors what it consumes. If you constantly focus on fear, failure, or envy, your actions will reflect the same. If you feed it curiosity, gratitude, and possibility, your behavior aligns with growth and creation. This is not about ignoring reality or living in denial. It is about choosing which voices to amplify and which to silence. Protecting your mind does not mean avoiding challenges. It means strengthening the soil where your decisions take root, so that every choice grows from a place of wisdom and not chaos. Your mental space also influences your emotional state. When you guard your thoughts carefully, you control the quality of your emotions. Anger, frustration, and anxiety often arise not from the world itself, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it. By choosing which thoughts to entertain, by deciding which ideas deserve attention, you can prevent unnecessary suffering and channel energy into actions that move you forward. It is a quiet form of empowerment, invisible to most, yet more powerful than any external achievement. The people you surround yourself with are part of this temple, whether you realize it or not. The attitudes, words, and energies of those around you seep into your mind, shaping perceptions and decisions. Toxic voices, constant negativity, or shallow influence erode the foundation of your mental clarity. But when you cultivate relationships that uplift, challenge, and inspire, your mind becomes a fertile ground for ideas, courage, and creativity. Protecting your mental space sometimes means saying no to those who drain it and yes to those who nourish it. Discipline of the mind requires conscious practice. It means noticing when thoughts are unhelpful, recognizing when you are influenced by distraction, and redirecting attention to what truly matters. Meditation, reflection, journaling, or simply deliberate focus can act as a guard, keeping the mind uncluttered. Each time you pause to choose your thoughts instead of letting them choose you, you are reclaiming power. Over time, this habit transforms the way you experience life. Challenges become clearer, decisions become easier, and your energy becomes aligned with your highest priorities. The mind is also a gatekeeper for your future. The visions you allow yourself to imagine, the beliefs you cultivate, the stories you tell about your capabilities, they all determine the trajectory of your life. Protect it carelessly and it will echo doubts and limitations back to you. Protect it intentionally, and it will echo possibilities, courage, and resilience. By treating your mind as sacred, you create an inner world where clarity and purpose reign, where decisions are grounded in wisdom, and where your potential can finally meet action without being hijacked by fear, confusion, or distraction. The fifth key point is that your environment mirrors your habits. Look around the spaces you inhabit, the room you wake up in, the desk you work at, the streets you walk, the people you spend the most time with. Every detail is a reflection of the choices you make, the routines you follow, and the life you are unconsciously building. If your surroundings are cluttered, chaotic, or uninspiring, they will quietly shape your thoughts, slow your momentum, and pull your energy into patterns that do not serve you. But when you align your environment with your goals, every object, every sound, every interaction becomes a silent ally, reinforcing the habits that carry you forward. The energy of a space affects you more than most people realize. Disorder and neglect whisper excuses to your mind, making procrastination feel natural, distraction inevitable, and focus impossible. On the other hand, a space that reflects order, clarity, and intention encourages you to rise to the standard it sets. It is not about perfection, it is about consistency in creating surroundings that echo the life you aspire to live. Even small adjustments, a clean desk, a well-lit room, inspiring images, can subtly guide your mind toward productivity, creativity, and calmness that spills into every action you take. The people in your environment are equally powerful. Friends, colleagues, and acquaintances carry habits, energy, and expectations into your life, whether you ask for them or not. Some relationships are anchors, holding you steady and pushing you toward growth. Others are weights, dragging your momentum down and normalizing mediocrity. Choosing wisely who is allowed to influence your thoughts and actions is as important as the habits you practice yourself. Your destiny quietly reflects the company you keep, and every conversation has the potential to either strengthen or weaken the foundation of your future. Your environment also shapes your perception of possibility. If you surround yourself with reminders of stagnatio, negativity, or unfinished work, your mind will internalize limitations and make excuses. But when you fill your spaces with evidence of growth, progress, and achievement, even in small personal ways, you give your mind a model to follow. Each object, each pattern, each sound becomes a signal, telling your subconscious, this is the standard, this is possible, this is achievable. In this way, the environment acts like a silent coach, guiding your habits without you even noticing. Even the simplest routines are amplified by the spaces in which they occur. Waking up in a room filled with sunlight and quiet encourages focus and calm. Preparing a workspace that is organized and intentional encourages concentration and creativity. Walking through streets, parks, or neighborhoods that inspire movement and mindfulness encourages a rhythm that spills into your decisions. Each element of your environment interacts with your habits, either reinforcing them or undermining them, quietly tipping the balance between progress and stagnation, momentum and inertia. Sometimes protecting your environment requires discipline and courage. It may mean removing items, routines, or even people that feel familiar but no longer serve you. Letting go is uncomfortable because it challenges attachment and habit, but it is necessary for growth. When you clear the clutter, you create breathing space for new possibilities, for actions that align with your highest potential. The environment you design becomes a mirror, reflecting back the life you are ready to step into, guiding your focus and reinforcing the choices that define your future. Your environment is a partner in shaping your destiny, not a neutral backdrop. It is a living, responsive space that reacts to your habits, energy, and attention. When you arrange it thoughtfully, it becomes a silent teacher, a constant reminder of what you value, and a structure that supports your most important routines. When ignored, it becomes a hidden obstacle, subtly influencing your mind and actions in ways you rarely notice until the effects have compounded. Every choice you make about your surroundings, physical, social, and mental, is a building block, quietly constructing the architecture of your life long before the world sees key results. The sixth key point is that discipline is freedom. At first, it sounds contradictory. How can restriction bring liberty? Most people think freedom is doing whatever they want whenever they want. But real freedom is quiet, steady, and rooted in control. Discipline does not limit you. It releases you from the chaos of impulsive decisions, from the weight of regret, from the invisible chains of distraction and indecision. When you choose to act with intention, even when it is uncomfortable, you are creating a space where your potential can move unhindered, like a bird finally released from a cage it didn't realize it was living in. Discipline begins with small commitments that feel trivial in the moment but compound in significance over time. Waking up early, exercising, journaling, or even just following through on a promise to yourself may feel restrictive today, but these acts are seeds of autonomy. Each decision made with self-control strengthens your ability to act under pressure, to resist short-term temptation, and to align your actions with the life you truly want. The more consistent these small disciplines, the more effortless life becomes, because you are no longer a passenger carried by whims, moods, or circumstance. Many people resist discipline because it asks for immediate discomfort. Saying no to laziness, to distraction, or to indulgence is not easy. But discomfort is temporary, regret is enduring. Every time you practice self-control, you are trading a moment of difficulty for a lifetime of options. Discipline is not punishment, it is investment. It is the silent, invisible scaffolding that allows your life to grow higher, stronger, and steadier than it would without structure. Those who avoid it often feel free in the moment, but slowly they find their choices shrinking, their energy scattered, their potential limited by unseen chains. Discipline also sharpens clarity. When your habits are aligned with your values and priorities, you eliminate mental clutter. You stop wasting energy on indecision, on distractions, on unnecessary battles within your own mind. Each choice you make intentionally, no matter how small, is like chiseling away stone to reveal the sculpture within. Without it, life is formless and reactive. With it, your actions are precise, deliberate, and aligned with the vision of your best self. You begin to notice that freedom is not chaos. It is order applied to the parts of your life that matter most. The paradox of discipline is that it gives you time, energy, and space that would otherwise be lost to randomness. The person who structures their day, guards their habits, and follows through with commitment experiences a rhythm and flow that feels effortless from the outside, but is actually the result of rigorous invisible effort. Freedom emerges when you are no longer pulled in every direction by fleeting desire or untrained impulses. Each act of discipline creates leverage over your circumstances, allowing you to direct your energy toward creation, growth, and meaningful achievement. Discipline also teaches resilience. Life is unpredictable, filled with setbacks, distractions, and failures. Without structure, these moments throw you off balance, leaving you reactive, exhausted, and lost. With discipline, however, you build a foundation strong enough to withstand turbulence. Your daily choices, repeated with intention, become armor against uncertainty. You develop a rhythm and momentum that makes obstacles feel less like threats and more like natural tests of the systems you have created. The more disciplined you are, the more fluidly freedom moves through your life. Ultimately, discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It transforms fleeting desire into lasting achievement. It turns intention into action and chaos into clarity. The chains it places around indulgence and distraction are not barriers, they are safeguards. They protect your energy, your focus, and your potential, allowing you to operate with power, purpose, and choice. The person who embraces discipline learns a profound truth. Real freedom is not doing whatever feels good in the moment, but living a life where every choice, every action, and every habit serves the life you are building, without compromise or hesitation. The seventh key point is that you must start today, not tomorrow. There is a quiet danger in the word later. It whispers promises of opportunity, motivation, and perfect timing, but it never delivers. Tomorrow is always a shadow, a phantom that shifts and retreats the moment you reach for it. Every day you wait, life moves forward without pause, and your potential quietly fades into the gap between intention and action. The moment you take a step, however small, is the only thing that turns possibility into reality. Most people overestimate what they can do in a single day and underestimate what they can achieve by simply showing up consistently. Waiting for the perfect plan, the ideal energy, or the exact circumstances is a form of self-deception. Life is messy, unpredictable, and imperfect, yet it rewards those who move despite the imperfections. Starting today means accepting that the conditions will never feel exactly right, but your growth and progress are waiting for you in the act of beginning anyway. The mind loves excuses because they feel safe. It says, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'm not ready yet," or "I need more time." These are seductive lies because they let you feel in control without actually doing anything. But every time you delay, you train your mind to prioritize comfort over courage, fear over action. Each hesitate. Iron leaves a layer of untapped potential gathering dust. By starting now, you break that pattern, proving to yourself that your commitment is stronger than your fear and that forward motion does not need permission to exist. Starting today also rewires your perception of time. The moment you act, the horizon of possibility expands. What once seemed distant, overwhelming, or impossible suddenly becomes tangible. The smallest step is a signal to your subconscious mind that progress is possible, that you are capable, and that your life is not dictated by circumstance but by choice. Momentum begins quietly at first, like a wheel turning slowly, but with every repetition it picks up speed until it feels unstoppable. What seemed like a burden when delayed becomes a natural flow when initiated. Action, even imperfect action, produces insight that planning alone cannot. When you start, you discover what works, what doesn't, and what truly matters. You learn your limits, your strengths, and the creative solutions hidden within the challenges. Waiting for clarity or confidence is a trap because they emerge only through doing, not thinking. Each step you take today teaches you more than 100 hypothetical scenarios you imagine tomorrow. The act of starting transforms fear into understanding, hesitation into learning, and potential into skill. Every day you delay is a day lost to habit, inertia, and doubt. The cumulative effect is subtle but devastating: lost time, diminished energy, and the slow erosion of belief in yourself. Starting today interrupts that cycle. It rewrites the narrative, turning passivity into agency, confusion into clarity, and intention into tangible action. The habit of beginning immediately becomes a superpower, a practice that compounds, building a life that your future self will thank you for over and over. The courage to start today is ultimately an act of self-respect. It tells the world, and more importantly yourself, that your life is valuable, that your dreams deserve attention, and that waiting is no longer an option. The first step is rarely perfect, rarely complete, but it is always transformative. It is the bridge between wishing and doing, between imagining and becoming. Every great accomplishment in history began with someone deciding to act in the present, embracing uncertainty, and refusing to let tomorrow rob them of what could begin today. Take a moment and feel the weight of this truth. Your life is not a series of random events, and your destiny is not something that happens to you. It is being shaped quietly every single day through the routines you follow, the choices you honor, and the habits you protect. There is a power in knowing that nothing is wasted when you act with intention, that even the smallest, unseen actions are building the foundation of the life you will eventually live. It is easy to forget how much control you actually have, how much influence lies in your hands when you decide to act with care, consistency, and focus. Every morning, every decision, every thought, and every environment you cultivate either lifts you toward your potential or pulls you away. The responsibility is immense, but within it lies freedom. The freedom to quietly, steadily shape a life that reflects your truest values and deepest aspirations. You don't need perfection, and you don't need permission. What you need is awareness, intention, and the courage to show up for yourself day after day. When you begin to see your routines as the language your future self understands, every habit, every choice, every action becomes a conversation with the life you are building. The small, consistent steps you take are not meaningless. They are the signature of someone who refuses to leave their destiny to chance. There will be days of doubt, days when progress feels invisible, when fear whispers that it is too late or too hard. That is when the routines you have cultivated will carry you. That is when the discipline, the clarity, and the momentum you have quietly built will remind you that you are capable, that you are moving forward even when it doesn't feel dramatic, even when it doesn't feel noticed. Your life is not a story waiting to be written. It is already being written in the small, repeated actions that you sometimes overlook, in the thoughts you choose to honor, in the mornings you greet with attention, in the environments you shape and protect. And if you carry this awareness quietly, steadily, without fanfare or urgency, you begin to live from a place of purpose, not reaction. There is a quiet strength in knowing that you are the architect of your own days, and that through them you are the architect of your destiny. Every choice you make matters, and every moment you show up with intention compounds into a life of depth, clarity, and meaning. Your routines are not just habits, they are the invisible threads weaving together the life you are capable of living. So move forward with patience and focus, trusting in the quiet accumulation of effort. Let your days be deliberate. Let your mind be guarded. Let your actions reflect the person you are becoming. Step into each moment with the knowledge that your routines, your choices, and your consistency are shaping a future that belongs to you. And that in this truth, you are already stronger than you have ever realized.